Every sport has its legends, a group of people who generally define the sport for future generations. CrossFit, being a relatively new sport, needed to have men and women to step up to really define exactly how we train, compete, and pursue the sport of CrossFit. From the butterfly pull-up to training with EMOMs and even how we transition between movements, these men and women really set in stone exactly how to compete in CrossFit. In today's episode, we're going to focus on the men that defined the sport of CrossFit for future generations and the dominance of Rich Froning, Ben Smith, and Matt Fraser. These men are Jason Khalipa, Chris Spealler, Mikko Salo, and Graham Holmberg. And these men are absolute beasts. Actually, CrossFit isn't a real sport. Well, whatever, man. Love CrossFit. Fuck you.
You know, you have the business, the family, and then all of a sudden I'm trying to compete at the highest level in CrossFit. And what I found was that I wasn't doing anything very well, and I wasn't achieving my potential in each different area because I feel like I was 1 foot in and 1 foot out too often. And so I started taking that analogy of fitness and building it into my life. The first step is I have to identify what do I want to focus on. The next step is I need to work hard. Identify your focus, work hard to switch gears throughout the day, and then every now and then reevaluate that overall focus of what your macro goals are.
They sing on a sleepless night, try to catch me howling at the moon.
We're going to start off with Jason Khalipa. Jason Khalipa has competed in the CrossFit Games on 8 separate occasions, 7 times as an individual athlete and wrapping up his 8th and final year as a team competitor. He is no rookie to the sport of fitness. Throughout his career, Jason has only ever placed outside the top 10 once. He's won every regional competition he's participated in, and he won the Spirit of the Games award in 2009. Not only that, Jason Khalipa has held every single podium position, as well as being picked for Team USA 3 years in a row. Being an athlete doesn't stop there. When you exit the arena, field, or court, being a competitor is a lifestyle, and a lifestyle that Jason knows well. As he struggles to balance his training, CrossFit Games, fatherhood, fitness, and entrepreneurship, coaching, and maintaining his business, he soon realizes he needs to reevaluate his approach to life. That's where Jason Khalipa developed his AMRAP mentality. Using the AMRAP mentality, Jason was able to attack each task of his day effectively and efficiently, treating it like an AMRAP. He mentions that when doing 7 minutes of burpees, you only think about burpees for those 7 minutes, nothing else. Just like that, Jason used that mindset to approach his business world, his family life, and his CrossFit Games career, where he stayed and maintained to be one of the most dominant CrossFit Games athletes around. Let's look at how good Jason Khalipa really was. In his stats, Jason Khalipa boasts a 550-pound deadlift, a 450-pound squat. He can clean and jerk 355 pounds, and he snatches 285 pounds. He has many event wins. Not only did he win the 2008 CrossFit Games, he also came second in 2013 and third in 2014. He has a event win in the 2009 Ranch Deadlift, the 2009 Couplet, 2012 2-kilometer row, and the 2012 half marathon row. Jason Khalipa has also written a book called The AMRAP Mentality and owns a company called NC Fit with over 20 physical gym locations worldwide. You can find Jason Khalipa at Jason Khalipa on Instagram. Moving on to our second athlete, Chris Spealler.
I remember I relied much more on work ethic and engine than I did on technique. And I remember even thinking in college, if there was just a sport where I could outwork someone, I would do really well.
Chris Spealler is a former college wrestler from a family of standout athletes. Chris Spealler quickly became one of CrossFit's leading ambassadors, impressing and inspiring newcomers to the sport. With his underdog attitude and being one of the smallest guys on the court, Chris Spealler kept impressing judges and fans alike year after year, being one of his most impressive performances at the 2014 regional, where he took second after not qualifying at all from the CrossFit Games in the previous year. Chris Spealler was a competitor at the very first CrossFit Games in 2007. He would eventually collect a pair of Southwest regional titles and 3 top 10 finishes at the Games in 2007, 8, and 10. Along with the Spirit of the Games award in 2010. 3 years later, at the 2017 CrossFit Games, Chris Spealler made a comeback performance in the Masters division, taking 3rd overall. This would be Chris Spealler's last CrossFit Games he would ever compete in. Since then, Chris has competed in the Legends edition of the Rogue Invitational, taking a 6th place finish. Let's check out Chris Spealler's stats. For a little guy, Chris Spealler can move quite a bit of weight. At just 68 kilos of body weight, Chris Spealler boasts a 420-pound deadlift, a 380-pound squat, clean and jerks 285 pounds, snatches 225, and he can press 165. His event wins include the 2008 Thruster Final, the 2009 Trail Run, the 2010 Muscle Up Squat Snatch, and the famous 2010 Wall Burpee Rope Climb. And even though Chris is retired, he continues to train and coach at CrossFit Park City in Utah, where he lives with his wife and his children. Chris also programmed for the recent 2020 Rogue Invitational and can be found at his Instagram at @Spealler. Mikko Salo.
Not a certain optimal background. Like for example, Matthew Fraser came from Olympic lifting, and some people, for example, Jonne is coming from swimming. So there, you can't say that from some sport you have the advantage. I have not a unique, but I would say that the different kind of approach on CrossFit, and I believe that yeah, you need to have a really solid skill base and efficiency base on the movements, but I believe that the guy or girl who has the biggest engine will win always the competition. If it's legitimate competition, and meaning legitimate, I mean there's more than 5-6 events, then it's always the athlete who has the biggest engine.
Mikko was most notable for his 2009 CrossFit Games title. A native of Pori, Finland, Mikko Salo claimed his first fittest man on earth by winning the 2009 CrossFit Games in convincing fashion. His newfound fame soon shined a light on his legendary workout routine, revolutionizing how countless athletes approach their own training for the years to come. In more recent years, Salo, slowed by a series of unfortunate injuries, has still been working as a firefighter by day and training and coaching CrossFit by night in his native land of Finland. One of his top students and fellow countrymen, Jonakoski, under Mikko's coaching, winning the 2014 and 15 European Regional. Jonakoski is one of the most dominant athletes in the CrossFit space and known as a gymnastics expert, under the guidance of Mikko Salo, has been a super successful athlete in his own right. Let's look at the Games champion stat. Mikko Salo can deadlift 551 pounds, squat 418 pounds, clean and jerk 308 pounds, snatch 220 pounds, and press 191 pounds. He has an event win in the 2009 Chipper, as well as he came 5th in the 2010 Games and re-qualified for the Games 3 years later in 2013. Unfortunately, due to injury, he was never able to compete. Mikko Salo can be found at Mikko Salo 63, where in my opinion, just like a fine wine, age has really made Mikko look better. Our final athlete on today's list is Graham Holmberg, the 2010 CrossFit Games champion.
You're like, okay, wow, am I recognized as this fittest person on the earth? You know, and who's recognizing this? You know, because let's be honest, I mean, CrossFit is the one that's claiming this. You know, I think at the same time, CrossFit has also been very proactive in saying, hey, if you think that you're fitter than the tests that we're providing, if you think that you can come out here and perform against who we consider the best guys, and you feel like you have a legitimate chance to win, he's basically put the invitation out there to say, just contact us and we'll create a spot for you at the Games and we'll throw you in the mix with these guys.
I've got no motivation, got no will to breathe, growing more and more complacent. Train wreck at my feet, this monster I've created, running out of steam, but I can't fight the craving. So on and on, I train alone. The pain it slips away. I did it to myself. I did it to myself. I did it to myself. I did it to myself.
Graham Holmberg is most notable for his 2010 CrossFit Games championship, but even more notable to be the only man to defeat Rich Froning at individual competition. Well, technically rope climbs defeated Rich Froning, but we'll give him the win. A former Capital University football and baseball player, he has appeared at 6 CrossFit Games in all, finishing the top 25 each time and the top 10 on 3 occasions. After finishing 10th at the Central Regional in 2017, Graham announced that he'd be stepping away from individual ranks to focus on the team competition in 2018. Beyond his record achievements, Holmberg's silent, stoic way of competing has made him a crowd favorite and one of the most revered veterans in the sport. He currently lives just outside Columbus. When not competing, he coaches other athletes in his own affiliate, 11th Element, in the town of Hillard. Let's look at some of Graham Holmberg's stats. He boasts he can deadlift 555 pounds, a squat of 440 pounds, clean and jerking 335 pounds, snatching 280 pounds, and pressing 205 pounds. He has plenty of event wins as well. Graham Holmberg tied with Jason Khalipa in the 2009 deadlift ladder. He also took 2010 double Helen pyramid, 2010 clean and ring handstand push-up, and the 2011 team The End Part 1. Graham Holmberg can be found at his Instagram account at Graham Holmberg. The early CrossFit media was cringy, but in the same way it was cringy, it also shaped the sport into the greatness that it has become. From the terrible effects and the potato quality camera recording, CrossFit has really took a step forward in both media production, games quality, athlete quality, and movement standards. From training in Dave Castro's backyard to now competing in a stadium full of people, CrossFit has been shaped the way it was because of its legends of the sport. These athletes, even though relatively unknown nowadays, were once the greatest athletes of their time, each adding their own little bit of spice and flavor to CrossFit to shape it in the sport that we all know and love. What do you think about the CrossFit Legends? Who should be in the CrossFit Female Edition? Comment down below now. If you enjoyed the video, leave a thumbs up, follow me on Instagram, and as always team, I hope you guys stay a beast.
Did it to myself, I have no explanation.